Yo, what up guys, I'm Sammy and welcome back to the Soul Brothers channel, and this is my performance review of the Adidas Exhibit A. So this shoe is going for 110 bucks, so pretty cheap. And if you guys do want to cop, I'll leave a link in the description box. But let's get started off with the tracciones, right? So as far as the outsole pattern goes, we got a whole bunch of rhombuses or diamond shapes. And how is the traction? So the traction on the clean court, it has a pretty solid bite, but on dust though, dust is actually a pretty big issue, I would say, for the Exhibit A. It picks it up pretty fast, and also when it picks up dust, you have to wipe a good amount. You know, it really sticks on there, so you're like, you gotta get it off. So that kind of sucked. You know, it wasn't terribly annoying, but I did find myself wiping a lot and pretty hard when I was playing on a dusty setting. So just watch out if you're playing on a dusty setting. If you're used to wiping, then you should be fine. But you know, if you don't want to wipe and you usually play on a dusty setting, probably stay away from this shoe. But if you're playing on a clean court, you should be fine, and because it has a solid bite. You do have to break it in a little bit though. I feel like for the first couple of times I played in it, it wasn't great, but once I broke it in, you know, it got a lot better actually. So I just remember to break it in and give it a little bit of time. As far as the durability goes, feeling from the actual rubber, it doesn't feel like it's gonna be the best. The rubber is kind of soft, I would say, but the grooves are, I guess, a little deep. I don't know, to be honest. I didn't play outdoors in it, so take this with a grain of salt, but just feeling from the actual rubber, it doesn't feel like it's going to be the best for outdoor use. So as far as the traction goes, I would say it was pretty good. All right, moving on to the heel to toe transition. So here in the heel, we have a very nice curve shape, which I like a lot. And then also a fully exposed midsole, so it doesn't feel clunky at all here in the heel, which is super nice. Here in the forefoot though, it's pretty flat. As you guys can see, it reminds me a lot of like the original Next Levels or like the Dawn Issue 1 with a super flat shape. I really don't like it. So it slaps the floor a little bit, you know? So when you're running down the court, you know, doing heel dominant strides, it slaps, you know? So that kind of sucks, but you know, it doesn't feel terrible, I guess, because there is a good amount of forefoot, actually a lot of forefoot flex. So yeah, as far as the overall heel to toe transition, I would say it wasn't terrible, but also it wasn't like my favorite. I just wish Adidas shoes would add a little bit more curve in their shoes, man, you know? But I guess, you know, if you've played in other Adidas shoes like the Dawn Issue 1 and didn't really have an issue with it, then you should be fine with the issue. Just my personal preference, I guess I'm a little picky on that. I don't really like that feeling all too much. All right, moving on to the cushioning setup. So we got full length Lightstrike and it feels really nice, right? So it feels kind of similar to the Harden Volume 4, but like way better step and comfort. The Lightstrike midsole is pretty much fully exposed. It's only caged here on the lateral side, I guess kind of like in the middle of the midfoot and here in the heel, right? We have this plastic cage. It cages the midsole slightly. But as far as like the heel compression goes, there is a little bit of heel compression. Court feel is extremely good. You're like very, very low to the ground, just like in the Harden Volume 4. But like I mentioned, the step and comfort is actually pretty nice. For the insole, we have the Adidas paper stock insole. There's like pretty much no padding. It doesn't really add all too much to the comfort, but the actual like stroke board, when you look at it, you're like, ooh, that looks pretty stiff. But I don't know why, like when you feel it with your finger, there is a little bit of compression and you can definitely feel it underneath your foot, right? So the step and comfort and underfoot cushioning is actually pretty nice and pretty comfortable. It's not the craziest feeling ever, but you get a little bit of like soft compression underneath your foot, which I liked. So as far as the overall impact protection goes, I would say it's pretty damn good. You know, obviously it's not the best, like, you know, like in the LeBron 18 or anything like that, but for how low to the ground you are, impact protection is pretty damn good. It's comfortable, you get a little bit of compression. It's also a super responsive cushioning setup as well. So overall, I really like the cushioning setup. I feel like they did a really good job in the Exhibit A. As far as the materials go, we have a mesh material pretty much throughout this entire upper. So here in the toe box, it's extremely thin. It conforms to your foot very well. The quality is pretty bad. I mean, I guess you can't really complain for 110 bucks, but it's not the best for quality. Also here in the tip of the toe box, we got some fuse for extra added durability and support. And then here on the lateral side as well, we got this crazy fuse material. It kind of reminds me of the Harden Volume 5, or I don't know what Adidas is doing, but they're making their fuse like super stiff. Maybe they add like a little plastic piece here and then they fuse it. I don't know what they did, but it's like super stiff here. But of course, that doesn't really matter all too much because that doesn't really affect like how the overall upper feels on your foot, right? It just adds a little bit more support here on the lateral side of the shoe. And then around the eyelets, we have a polyester material. And then on the lateral side of the shoe, we got the just like the regular Adidas logo here, kind of like next to the last eyelid. On the medial side of the shoe, we got the 3 stripes logo. As far as the laces go, we got some rope laces, you know, so I guess it looks cool and it feels nice, but you have to double knot because these rope laces are pretty thick. So if you just kind of like regular knot the shoe, it comes undone very easily, so just watch out for that. As far as the tongue goes, there is, I would say, a minimal amount of padding. It doesn't feel super cozy as far as the tongue goes, but it's kind of like stretchy, just a tiny bit, so it feels pretty nice on top of your foot. Here in the ankle area, we have like a minimal amount of padding as well. So for the overall material, I would say it's super minimal. It feels great on foot. There's really no break-in time needed. So yeah, for performance, I really had no issues. It's just that the quality of the material isn't the best, which for me isn't a huge deal. Also, we have I guess like an external TPU heel counter. You know, it's kind of like a softer plastic. It starts here on the medial side. It kind of looks like a stormtrooper a little bit. And it wraps around all the way until it cages the cushion here on the lateral side of the shoe. As far as the fit goes, so I went true to my Adidas size and it fits me pretty damn well. So for length, there is a little bit of space. I would say probably like a centimeter or two, but like if you guys look, it's just super pointy, right? So pretty much my big toe goes to the edge of the shoe, and then I guess like my middle 2 toes, or I guess like my index and middle toe, right? There's a little bit of space right here because it is pointy. But I feel like if I went down half a size, it would be way too snug lengthwise. So I would suggest just going true to your Adidas size. And then as far as the toe space goes, it's not super roomy and it's not super snug. I would say there is a little bit of space here in the toe box, which kind of sucks. You know, I like to have my fit super snug. But of course, if you want a little bit more of a relaxed fit, then this is a great fit for you guys. And as far as the width goes, I would say it's a normal width. You know, it's not super narrow, it's not super wide either. So as far as the fit for me goes, personally, I would say it was pretty good. Not the best fitting shoe, like I said, because I like a super snug fit, but it wasn't terrible or anything. Also, I don't really know where this fits, but like these two parts were pretty annoying. It's pretty similar to the Jordan 35. You know, the Jordan 35 was really, really bad actually. It bothered my Achilles a lot when I played in it. Here in the Exhibit A, it definitely wasn't as bad as the Jordan 35, but it definitely did annoy my Achilles a little bit, right? This part, especially on my right pair for some reason, it was digging into my Achilles, you know, especially when I was walking around, right? So just watch out for that. You know, hopefully it's just me personally, but I don't really like how they did that. Like, why do you guys do this? You know, make it super pointy. There's not a whole lot of foam to it either, so it's just like super annoying. I wear long socks when I play basketball and still like annoyed me, so I guess just watch out for that. If you guys can try it on, obviously try on the shoe before you get it. Alright, as far as support and lockdown goes, for lateral containment, I had 0 issues, right? So like I mentioned before, actually the foam doesn't really come out all too much, but this fuse piece right here feels very, very supportive, so I didn't really feel my foot coming out of the footbed at all. And also here in the heel, we got this external TPU heel counter, so I mean, lateral containment, your foot's gonna be locked in. You know, I really had no issues with my foot sliding out of the footbed. Also, Adidas does this really well, you know, so I don't know why, but they make their cushion super low to the ground, which is a good thing. I like that. And also they make it super wide, especially here in the forefoot. Also, they don't really put outriggers on their shoes all too much, but I guess they don't really need to because of how much it protrudes out. But yeah, lateral stability was super good in the shoe as well. And also for heel slippage, I had none. My heel felt locked down in the shoe. So for support and lockdown, I really had no issues with the shoe. Alright, moving on to the weight of the shoe. If I remember correctly, it was pretty light. It feels pretty damn light when I'm playing in it, right? So yeah, 12.1 ounces. That is a little bit lighter than average weight for my shoes. So the average weight of my shoes is around 12.5 ounces. So 0.4 ounces lighter than average. Not a whole lot, but still lighter than average. And does it feel responsive though? Not the most responsive, I would say. You know, the traction, I definitely feel like could have been a lot better. You know, it was doable. You know, it was pretty good, but you know, I definitely don't think it's top tier. Cushion is definitely a good blend of comfortable and also responsive. You're low to the ground, and I had no issues with support or anything, or like my foot moving around in the shoe. So I guess, you know, you do feel pretty responsive, but just like I said, I wish the traction was a little bit better. All right, moving on to the ventilation. So as far as the airflow goes, there is a little bit of airflow. You know, this mesh material has like very small holes in it, I would say, and it's not glued down or anything. So there is a little bit of airflow, and this material, like I said, is super thin. So ventilation is okay. You know, I wouldn't say it's the best, but also my feet weren't like super hot in this shoe. All right, as far as the aesthetics go, don't really like it all too much. You know, this colorway is sick, but obviously you can't really go wrong with triple white, right? But the overall aesthetics, not a huge fan. I don't like the fuse, you know, like in the other colorways, the fuse is like a different color, and I don't really like that all too much. And I don't know, just not a great looking shoe in my opinion. So tell us what you guys think of the aesthetics down in the comment section below. So wrapping things up, for 110 bucks, it's a pretty good shoe. You know, I feel like, you know, if you really wanted to make it work, you definitely can. But it's definitely not gonna be my rotation, or pretty much at all. I'm probably gonna play in shoes that I like to play, you know, like the KD14 or like the Kyrie Low 4 and stuff like that, right? Did I hate this shoe? No. Did I love the shoe? Not really. And there definitely were some good points about the shoe. Like, I really like the cushion. The support was really good as well. The materials felt great on foot, but I feel like the fit could have been a little bit better, but of course that's just subjective to me. And the traction, of course, could have been better too. So, and out of 5, I give it a 3.5, just in my personal opinion. But again, if you guys do want to cop this shoe, I'll leave a link in the description box. But that's it. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one.